Blaze, no one has ever attempted such a distance before. 300 feet from field goal to field goal. What's going through your mind right now?
You look really good. I got lucky.
Luck don't cover.
When Ghost Rider hit theaters in 2007, it marked one of Marvel's most daring ventures before the age of the cinematic universe had fully taken shape. At a time when superhero movies were still finding their identity, this film brought to life one of the darkest and most visually intense characters in the Marvel catalog. Directed by Mark Steven Johnson and starring Nicolas Cage as Johnny Blaze, Ghost Rider was a bold blend of supernatural horror, comic book action, and emotional tragedy. It wasn't just a story about a man bound by a curse. It was about redemption, vengeance, and the eternal struggle between good and evil. The movie transported audiences into a world where deals with the devil came with fiery consequences, and where one man's soul became the ultimate weapon of justice. The story began with Johnny Blaze, a talented motorcycle stunt rider who made a fateful deal with the devil, Mephistopheles, in a desperate attempt to save his father's life. But like all pacts with dark forces, the cost was far greater than he could imagine. Years later, Blaze had become a legend in the stunt world, performing death-defying acts and living with the torment of his secret. By day, he was a daredevil idolized by millions. By night, he was haunted by the promise he made, knowing that one day, his debt would come due. And that day arrived when Mephistopheles called upon him to become the Ghost Rider, the spirit of vengeance. With his flesh consumed by fire and his soul bound to a demonic entity, Blaze's transformation was both terrifying and spectacular. The moment his motorcycle roared across the night, flames erupting from its wheels, the Ghost Rider was born a being cursed to punish the wicked and consume the souls of the guilty. Nicolas Cage brought a uniquely passionate intensity to the role, portraying Johnny Blaze as both a tortured man and a vessel for unrelenting power. His fascination with comic books and supernatural themes made him a perfect fit for the role, adding emotional weight to the character's pain and defiance. Eva Mendes joined the film as Roxanne Simpson, Johnny's childhood love who became a successful journalist. Their reunion reignited the emotional core of the story, adding a layer of human warmth to the dark, hellish backdrop. Peter Fonda's portrayal of Mephistopheles exuded a chilling, manipulative presence, smooth, calm, and sinister. Opposing Ghost Rider was Blackheart, played by Wes Bentley, the rebellious son of Mephistopheles, who sought to overthrow his father and unleash hell on Earth. His cold demeanor and twisted ambition made him a fitting adversary for the spirit of vengeance. Visually, the film captured a haunting beauty that stood out from other superhero movies of its time. The transformation sequences, where Johnny Blaze's skin burned away to reveal the flaming skull beneath, were a stunning combination of practical and digital effects. The Ghost Rider's bike, custom-built and blazing with infernal energy, became an iconic symbol of the character's power. The film's setting a mix of desolate highways, dark urban streets, and gothic ruins gave it the look of a supernatural western, something few comic book movies dared to explore. Every chase, every chain whip, every burst of fire felt like a glimpse into a cursed world that existed between Earth and hell. The tone of Ghost Rider balanced horror with spectacle, leaning heavily into its dark comic origins. While it was often over the top, that exaggeration was part of its charm. It wasn't meant to be subtle. It was meant to be mythic. The film embraced the idea that this was a modern-day Faustian tale wrapped in leather and fire. Nicolas Cage's performance mirrored that intensity. His expressions, his voice, and his body language showed a man constantly on the edge of madness, consumed by a force he could barely control. He wasn't just playing a hero, he was playing a man trying to hold on to what remained of his humanity. The supporting cast added texture to the story. Sam Elliott, as the mysterious caretaker, brought gravitas and wisdom to the film. His gravelly voice and calm presence contrasted beautifully with Blaze's fiery chaos. The reveal that he was once a Ghost Rider himself, riding a flaming horse across the desert, created one of the film's most memorable and emotional moments. It tied the legacy of the spirit of vengeance to a timeless struggle, showing that this curse had existed long before Johnny Blaze. Together, their ride through the desert under a burning sky became one of the most visually powerful sequences of the movie, a perfect blend of myth and modern action. When the film was released, it became a commercial success despite mixed critical reactions. Audiences were drawn to its unique visual style and Cage's unrestrained performance. It wasn't just another superhero origin story. It was something darker, more gothic, and more unapologetically wild. The blend of comic book fantasy and demonic horror gave Ghost Rider a cult appeal that grew over time. Its imagery, flaming skull, roaring bike, chains of fire became instantly recognizable. Even those who didn't love the story couldn't deny its visual flair and atmosphere. It was a film that dared to be different in an era dominated by more traditional hero narratives. The soundtrack, filled with heavy guitar riffs and southern rock undertones, amplified the film's rebellious spirit. It matched the aesthetic of a lone rider against the forces of darkness, blending the outlaw tone of westerns with supernatural energy. Every sound, from the rumble of the engine to the crackle of fire, was designed to make audiences feel the heat of Ghost Rider's world. It wasn't polished, it was raw, loud, and visceral, just like the character himself. And that energy carried through every scene, especially during the fiery battles against Blackheart's demonic allies, each representing a twisted element of nature. In the years following its release, Ghost Rider became a reference point for discussions about the evolution of superhero cinema. It stood as a reminder of a time when Marvel characters existed outside of a connected universe, where filmmakers could explore different tones and genres without worrying about continuity. It also showed that audiences were open to anti-heroes, to flawed, tortured characters who weren't saving the world for glory, but fighting personal wars against damnation. Nicolas Cage's portrayal has since become something of a cult classic, celebrated for its passion and unpredictability. His version of Johnny Blaze remains a fan favorite, embodying both tragedy and fiery defiance. The film's visual effects, though dated by modern standards, were groundbreaking at the time. The fiery skull, the blazing chains, and the transformation scenes required immense technical work. The result was a character who felt tangible, dangerous, and hauntingly beautiful. The fire wasn't just decoration, it symbolized Blaze's inner torment, the constant burning of his soul. Every time the Ghost Rider looked into a sinner's eyes and unleashed the penitent stare, the weight of his curse became clear. It wasn't just punishment, it was judgment born from personal suffering. That moral complexity gave the film depth beneath its supernatural surface. Eventually, Ghost Rider paved the way for its 2011 sequel, Spirit of Vengeance, but the 2007 original remains the more iconic of the two. Its tone, style, and performance left a lasting mark on comic book cinema. It showed that even before the modern superhero boom, there was room for darker, more experimental interpretations of Marvel characters. The flames of Johnny Blaze burned bright, leaving behind a legacy that inspired later depictions in comics, animation, and even television. Ghost Rider, 2007, endures as a film that dared to be visually bold and emotionally raw. It may not have followed the formula that later superhero movies perfected, but that's precisely why it stands out. It's a reminder of an era when comic book films were wild experiments, driven by passion and imagination rather than interconnected narratives. It was a story of sin and salvation, told through fire and metal, with a hero who never truly escaped his curse, but learned to ride with it. The legend of the Ghost Rider still burns in the hearts of fans who remember that haunting image of a flaming skull racing through the night, punishing the guilty and seeking redemption for his own damned soul.